So our topic is electrochemical machining of tungsten and its alloy. Our team includes myself, Pratik Chauhan, Tatmesh Nakte, Shiven Badre, and Siddesh Pandey. So what is ECM and why do we care about it? So electrochemical machining is a kind of non-conventional machining process, and we use it to machine conductive materials. The workpiece, we make it as anode, and the tool is cathode, and there is an electrolyte in between. When we apply a potential difference between the anode and the cathode, so machining of tungsten takes place, and it is based on the law of Faraday. So why do we care about the machining of tungsten? It is because it is a very industrially important material, and also it is very difficult to machine considering some properties that we will be discussing later. And even methods, non-conventional methods like EDM are also not very accurate because they leave a heat affected zone, and which leads to a lot of inaccuracies in the uh, tungsten. So on the other hand, there is no tool wear whenever we are using ECM, and machining force that is also very low. So next. So the difficulty that we face in machining tungsten is due to the fact that it is very hard and very difficult to machine because it is used for making cutting tools themselves. So that's why cutting it is very difficult. And during machining, if we use any other tool, their edges lose sharpness very quickly. And now, when we have to machine tungsten carbide itself, just like tungsten, it is also a cutting tool, and it cannot be machined just like any other conventional methods. So that's why ECM is a very good method which can be used to produce tungsten carbide. Next. So what are the so in ECM we have to use an electrolyte. So what are the various options? So in generally we use acids or neutral solutions for ECM process, but as it is tungsten is not dissolved in acids, so we have to use alkalis for that, and NaOH and NaClO3 are the used extensively for the electrolytes. And but the problem is that the alkali solutions are not eco-friendly, so we are trying to use neutral solutions as well, because theoretically they can also generate OH minus ions. So how can we improve the effectiveness of electrolytes? So material removal rate can be increased if we use more oxygen rich electrolytes, and for alkaline electrolytes we can increase machining accuracy if we mix two electrolytes. So it will also help in decreasing stray erosion. And the temperature of the electrolyte should always remain below 40 degrees, else there will be a large heat affected zone, and it will produce a poor surface. Next. So in along with normal ECM, we have some variations as well. First one is the masked ECM, in which we put up a non-conductive material over the surface, which protects the areas which are not to be removed during ECM. And due to direct electrolytic contact, electrode distance as well as shape of electrodes do not produce any effect. The other one is cathode copying ECM. And here, cathode is the tool electrode, which is shaped as negative mold. And there is no mass present here like ECM. So the polarization should be regulated such that the desired surface that we want is not removed or get affected.
Thank you, Pratik. So now I'll continue. So like our approach in this presentation is to explain all the concepts through mostly through applications. So first we'll move on to the first application, which is microprobe microstylus machining. So where are these microprobes and microstylus used? So the microprobes are using MEMS devices. So MEMS devices are basically micromechanical and microelectronic components are made together in some kind of a chip. So their microprobes are widely used. Micro styluses are widely used in a machine known as coordinate measuring machine. You can see the image of that machine towards the right. So it is basically a machine which measures the geometry of physical objects by sensing discrete points on the surface of the object with a stylus. And as you might have noticed, most of these applications require the probe or the stylus to have good wear resistance. So tungsten and its alloys are a good choice. So we study how we make them. So now we'll study how to make a micro probe of 5 micrometer diameter and 3 mm length, which is of cemented tungsten carbide. So first step is the electrolyte selection. As told by Pratik, we generally use basic electrolytes for the machining of tungsten and its alloys, but this is not the case here because because as the concentration of cobalt increases, the dissolution rate of the material rapidly decreases in an alkali solution. Whereas in an acidic electrolyte like H2SO4, this does not happen, and hence tungsten and cobalt both get efficiently machined, and that leaves a good surface quality. So we go with an acidic electrolyte. Next is the experimental setup. From the image, you can see that there is nothing novel in this setup. It is just a standard ECM setup with platinum wire being used as an anode. Next slide. All right. So now we come to some of the reactions that happen in this process. So basically, as you can see, that cobalt gets dissolved in the electrolyte as CO2 plus ion, and the tungsten gets removed, and it then reacts with water to form that hydrolyzed tungsten carbide, which basically is the sludge. And the carbon in tungsten carbide is removed as CO2 gas. So from these reactions, we can again, confirm our the thing which I told earlier, that in acidic electrolytes, all three components of cemented tungsten carbide are efficiently removed. So those were the reactions. Now we see how some of the process parameters change with the uh, change with how they change the etching characteristics, and that will help us to decide on the concentration, voltage, and time for which the process should go on. So first, the concentration. From experiments, it was found that the straightness and surface quality of the machine Microsoft were not distinctively different with different electrolytes. So we can just choose an concentration which is giving us maximum MRR. So that is 1.5 1.5 molarity of H2SO4 solution. Next, we see the voltage. So in voltage, what observed that for any voltage below 3 volts, the workpiece shape changed to a conical form. And for any voltage above 5 volts, due to excessive CO2 gas generation, the surface quality was not good. So here we have just plotted the graph for 3 to 5 volts, in which the form of the material and the topography of the material was good. I mean, it was in our tolerances. And in that region, we can see that we get maximum MRR for around 4.1, 4.2. So that is the voltage that we choose. And in etching time, after 200 to 210 seconds, the length of the workpiece starts decreasing. So we just set our time at that. So this is how process parameters are chosen by doing some experiments. All right, next slide. Okay, so now that we have machined our part, the only thing remains is to remove the sludge. So the sludge is majorly composed of tungsten and cobalt oxide, I had shown you that in the reactions, and it can be removed either by ultrasonic cleaning or by chemical dissolution. But again, from experiments, it was found that while doing ultrasonic cleaning of the sludge, sometimes the workpiece breaks, because how the ultrasonic machining works is by cavitation bubbles, and there are pressure waves formed, so those pressure waves can break the workpiece. So finally, it was decided that chemical dissolution is better method for sludge removal, in which high concentration NaOH solution is used. Okay, so now that we have machined our micro pin, we can see how we can make a micro stylus from this, which is used in the CMM machine. So this process doesn't actually involve ECM, but it was quite interesting. So we decided to add it in this. Like, the end of the micro pin is just struck with one electric discharge towards its end, which melts the material locally, and due to surface tension, a spherical kind of shape is formed, hence forming our stylus. So that was it for machine manufacturing of microscopes. And now I'll hand it over to the next person, that is Siddesh, who will cover sliding ECM.
Thank you, Pratmesh. Now we shall see how sliding ECM helps in tungsten carbide microfilm fabrication. So let us first start by defining what we mean by sliding ECM. In sliding electrochemical machining, the workpiece is slided through the electrode to maintain the flow of the electrolyte through the machining gap and to sustain the integrity of the film shape. Rapid sliding workpiece and pulse power supply minimize the concentration polarization and reduce the stray current effect, both of which could not be achieved by conventional ECM. As can be shown from the figure, the experimental setup includes a pulse power generator, a 3-axis moving platform with 1 micrometer resolution, and a machining tank. Next slide, please. Now coming to the experimental methodology. The workpiece was a 2 millimeter diameter tungsten carbide rod with 10 fin-like geometry, pre-shaped using wire EDM process by 0.2 mm copper wire electrode, as can be seen from the figure on the bottom left. Now the experiment was conducted using a 50 kHz pulse power supply along with 50% duty ratio at different values of voltage, sliding speed, and slide times. The electrolyte used in this study is a combination of 5 weight % sodium nitrate and 2 weight % sodium hydroxide. The additional 2 weight % sodium hydroxide is added to resolve the oxidation film generated during the process on the workpiece, as can be seen from the figure in the bottom right corner. And this reaction follows. The tungsten oxide reacts with sodium hydroxide to form Na2WO4 and water. Adding NaOH also improves the MRR. Next slide, please. Yeah. So in microscale machining, the machining gaps are a lot smaller than conventional ECM. So faster MRR implies quicker concentration polarization. And to overcome this problem, sliding movement is provided to the workpiece. From the graph shown below, we can infer that fin thickness decreases with decrease in sliding speed and increase in slide time and working voltage, which is expected because more the input energy, more material of the workpiece will be removed. This is shown in the graph on the bottom left. But here comes the trade-off. Under 2 mm sliding speed and 12 volt working voltage and sliding for 20 times, the volume machined has been too much, which substantially shortens the fin's height. Hence, lower sliding speed renders the machining process unstable due to the lack of electrolyte renewing, leading to partial concentration polarization. This fact is established from the figure we see in the bottom right corner, A and B. Slower sliding performs better on the thickness, that is true, but faster sliding shows better integrity of the fin shape, as can be seen from figure B on the bottom right. The future scope of this experiment may include comparison between different types of power supply, machining characteristics under different electrolyte concentration, and the pulse parameters. Now I hand over to Shiven to tell us about selective ECM for tungsten heavy alloys.
Thanks, Siddesh. Up till now, we've discussed about one specific alloy, that is tungsten carbide. So the next novel application involves a separate class of alloys called tungsten heavy alloys, and this novel method is called selective ECM. So what are tungsten heavy alloys? They are basically a class of alloys that contain 90% by weight of tungsten and trace amounts of transition metals like iron, nickel, or copper. Now these particular heavy alloys have very desirable physical and chemical properties that include extremely good strength and toughness, corrosion resistance, as well as very good radiation shielding properties. And because of these desirable traits, they find a large number of applications in a wide variety of fields, such as in die casting molds, shielding components in the aerospace industry, missile liners, or gyroscopic rotors. Now, these tungsten heavy alloys have a very distinct microstructure, as you can see on the figure in the figure on the right hand side. So we have a two-phase structure which consists of globular tungsten grains that have a body-centered cubic structure, and these tungsten grains are embedded in a ductile and soft matrix phase that has an FCC phase. Now, because of this microstructure, these particular tungsten heavy alloys have a very hard and brittle nature, and this hard and brittle nature makes them very difficult to machine by conventional machining processes because the accompanying contact forces may be very high. Some or most non-traditional machining techniques are also rendered ineffective with these heavy alloys. There may be several reasons for that, such as high tool wear, as in the case of ultrasonic machining. Some other reasons could be a low material removal rate or limited feature size that are obtained to the samples. So what we go for is a selective ECM approach, which basically makes use of the idea that the tungsten grains are the main source of difficulty in machining, whereas the matrix phase that has been shown in the microstructure, that phase is typically easy to process. So what we do in this selective ECM approach is that the surface is modified with electrochemical etching of tungsten and tungsten only. This can be done by carefully choosing the applied potential and the electrolyte pH so that the other metals are not affected. And once we have a modified surface, we only have the remaining matrix phase and no more tungsten. And this particular modified surface can be easily machined by any conventional machining process, as can be seen in the figure in the bottom. Now we'll talk about the experimental methodology. As can be seen in the experimental setup, we have a potentiostat that acts as the supply for electricity, and the reaction vessel or the setup consists of a 3-electrode system. We have WE, which is the working electrode or the workpiece itself, and the workpiece that we are using for this particular analysis is a combination of tungsten, nickel, and iron. Other than that, we also have a counter electrode that is made of platinum and a reference electrode that is a standard Calumet electrode. The electrolyte used here is Na2CO3, that is an alkaline electrolyte. After the selective ECM process is over, the reaction products are studied using X-ray spectroscopy, and it has been observed that the thickness of the modified layer in the selective ECM process varies with the etching time. Now the reactions that take place in the selective ECM process have been described here. So we have tungsten that is converted into tungsten oxide, which is further converted into WO4 2- anions by reaction with OH- ion. The iron and nickel that are present in the workpiece react with the water and are converted into ferric oxide and nickel hydroxide respectively. As in the figure on the top right, you can see the surface microstructure that is obtained after the selective ECM or electrochemical etching process is over. Clearly, you can see that we only have a matrix phase and the tungsten grains have been removed completely. In this slide, I'll attempt to explain the mechanism of electrochemical etching in a step-by-step manner. The figure on the left-hand side shows how the applied potential is varied, and the figure on the right shows how the corresponding surface changes as the applied voltage is changed. So in the active region that is given by the region B, the roughness of the tungsten grains actually increases. As the voltage is increased, we enter the transition region, that is C, And now we have a passive film that forms on the tungsten grains. This is accompanied by a small decrease in the current. After that, we enter the passive region, that is the region D. Here, the film that is formed has become uniform, and the roughness of the tungsten grains starts decreasing, and we have a smooth grains. On increasing the voltage further, we enter the trans-passive region, that is E. Here, the film starts breaking down due to the oxygen that is liberated at the anode surface, and we have non-uniform etching in this region. On increasing the voltage even further, we enter a region called the evolution region. Here, the film is essentially non-existent, and electrochemical etching becomes the dominant process, and we have uniform electrochemical etching everywhere. After once we are through the evolution region, the selective ECM process has been completed. Now we have obtained a modified surface that consists of only the matrix phase. This can be easily machined by any conventional machining process. So that covers a major part of our presentation. In the current slide, we've tried to list down the individual contributions of each team member as well as the entire team as a whole throughout the course of the seminar. And in this particular slide, we've mentioned all the references that we have used for our presentation. And this concludes our presentation on the topic electrochemical machining of tungsten alloys. Thank you.